It's finally here. The only structured tutorials you're ever gonna need. Let's see how to add custom structures to Minecraft. Oh, right, we find ourselves back in IntelliJ once more. And in this tutorial, we're gonna start embarking on a great adventure. Meaning, we're gonna see how you can add custom structures to Minecraft. This is absolutely amazing because 1.18.2 actually makes this incredibly easy for us. We can even add structures without adding any custom code at all. We only need JSON files, and it's going to be really freaking awesome. Now, I have actually split this up into 3 different parts. The first part, we're going to work through a already existing GitHub repository to add 2 custom structures. Then once we've done this, in the next tutorial, we're going to add a one-piece structure, completely custom one. We're going to build it. We're then going to save it and then add it to, well, our world. And then in the third tutorial, we're going to talk about Jigsaw blocks as well. So we're going to also create a Jigsaw structure that would be, so Jigsaw structures, to quickly explain, the structure size is 48 by 48 by 48. If you have anything bigger than that, you actually have to split it up into, well, different parts. So if you want something that's, 200 blocks by 200 blocks or whatever, basically, then you need to use Jigsaw blocks. And we're going to tackle that in the third tutorial here in this, 3 tutorial series, so to speak. I highly recommend you go through, well, in order, number 1. So you start working through this with me, the GitHub repository. So the GitHub repository we're going to look at is the one from TelepathicGrunt. Once again, it is probably the best resource on, custom structures that there is. It's so incredibly great. And I mean, first of all, like, greatest props to TelepathicGrunt for, making the tutorial mod here available for us under the MIT license. It is such an amazing tool, and it's really great. So we're going to work through this tutorial repository right here and basically implement the 2 different structures that it adds. It adds one structure with code and one structure without code. And we're going to do this entirely. And then in the next tutorial and the tutorial following after that, the already existing JSON files can be very easily copied over. So we're just going to copy over the JSON files that we, create in this tutorial and then adding new structures to it. Because once you have one structure implemented, adding more is incredibly straightforward. So the structures we're going to do, they're not going to be crazy complicated. We're not going to add any like strongholds or anything like that. There's not going to be any underground structures. You will have to do some work yourself as well, but we're going to see, how you can at least add some structures, and then hopefully the rest you can figure out on your own. Right, so let's start. Make sure that you are on 1.18.2 Forge Jigsaw right here, and then we can proceed. So let's go into the source main folder right here, and we're first of all going to start with the code. The code is fairly straightforward, so I just, open all of the packages and all of the classes, and you can see there are only 3 classes to speak of. This is the Sky Structures class. We have the ST Structures. This would be, for us, it would be called Mod Structures. This is what I call, my classes where I register stuff. And then we have the main class. This is the structure tutorial main, or for us, it would be the tutorial mod class. So what we can basically do is we can just take what is in here and copy it over. So this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to take all of this basically, and we're just going to copy it over. So I'm going to take everything here, just select it, press Ctrl+C, and then go back into IntelliJ, and we're going to make the custom class. So this is going to be done inside of a new package. So this is going to be the world package, and then inside of there, we're going to make the structure package. And then inside of there, we're going to make a new class, and this is going to be the Sky Structures class, making sure that we write this correctly as well. There you go, structures. And then what we can do is just paste it in. Now we will get, one error, I believe. Yeah, this one right here. So we can delete this import, and then instead we can use the tutorial mod.logger. I believe that this is, we've actually deleted it. No, it's private. There you go. So just making this public. And then this will work fine as well. So we can then say Sky Structures at a particular block position, and that should be fine. What is really good here is that TelepathicGrunt adds a lot of comments in their classes, which is absolutely great. So you can see there's a lot of comments right here. There's a lot of comments almost for every single line that there is. I highly recommend what you do in your own time. Go through those comments as well and just take a look at what you can change there. So because, pretty much everything here is explained very, very well. So highly recommend taking a look at this. The general idea here is just that the reason we're using the code right here is because we actually want to add this structure, 60 blocks above the top land layer. That is the general idea. You can see here, find the top Y value of the land and then offset our structure to 60 blocks above it. That is the general idea. This is why we're using the code in this case. And that is actually all that there is to this particular class. Like I said, take a look at this in your own time, highly recommended, but also usually we won't need classes. Like I said, we are going to see the example for this one with class and then also without any code at all. So we're just going to close this again and then go back again to the repo. This is the ststructures class. We're going to call it the mod structures, but no worries. We're just going to copy it over. So once again, select everything, Control C, and then in the structure package, new Java class mod structures. And then I will just, once again, copy it over. We have to change some stuff, no worries at all. Change the name right here. So this is mod structures. There you go. And then this one goes away as well. And this one goes away as well. Let's just do this. The deferred register right here is going to be the tutorial mod ID. So this is mod underscore ID for us. And then the actual structure, you can see sky structures, and then we're just creating a new sky structures. So from this class right here, we're now referencing the constructor in this, creating it, and that is literally it, what we have to do. And then the last thing we want to do is we, of course, also want to add something to our main class. So this is going to be right here. You can see we are basically getting the deferred register and registering it. So for us, what this means is we're just going to add a custom public static void register method here with the I event bus, called event bus, and then we're saying the deferred registry structures that register, passing in the event bus. There you go, because we've always done it like this, and I just prefer to do it like this. So then let's add it right here. This is going to be mod structures dot register, passing in the event bus, and that is literally all that we need to do. This is all of the code. The rest all happens in the data folder. So the rest happens with, well, the JSON files and all of that. So you can see, I mean, it pretty much is what it is. It's literally only those three classes. So we can close all of them and then here go into the resources folder. You can see there only is a data folder that concerns us. So we can open this. And now it starts to get really freaking interesting because there's quite a few things that we can add. So let's talk about the Worldgen tag right here for the time being. This is something we're not going to add actually, but it can be really interesting. So you can see this is the On Ocean Explorer Maps JSON. And, as TelepathicGrunt here tells us, this one adds your structure as a possible locatable structure to the cartographer's villagers on ocean monument maps. So this is something that you can add. We're not going to do it for ourselves, but this is just, one example of a, also an interesting thing, how you can basically add your custom structure to, well, something else here. But that's not something we're going to do. We're just going to go into the structure underscore tutorial folder right here and then proceed from here. So the first interesting thing is there are three different, folders right here. The structures folder, the tags, in the Worldgen biome has structure, and then the Worldgen folder. So the structures folder is the first one that's very interesting. You can see that it has different NBT files. So what are NBT files? Well, this is the way that you save your custom structures so that Minecraft can then spawn them. We're going to see how to do this, especially in the next tutorial. However, we're also going to see a little bit on this, how you can create these NBT files in this tutorial, because we actually will need to change some stuff right here, but no worries at all. We're going to go through this and you will be able to hopefully understand everything here. For the time being, what I want us to implement these particular, structures exactly like TelepathicGrunt has made them for us, because otherwise it just would add too much complexity. We're just going to change a few things, and then next tutorial and then the tutorial after that, we're going to make some custom stuff. So for us, this means that we want to basically download those files. So let's just open them, and we're not going to see anything, but we can click the download button here. So just download all of them, and then we will be fine. Now, those NBT files go into the data folder, into our custom, folder with our mod ID, and then a new folder called structures. Very important, structures written correctly. So make sure that, you've written everything correctly here. Otherwise, you will run into some issues. And then let's just copy over the NBT files that we've just downloaded. So there you go. Those are the 4 NBT files right here. That actually also, let me actually close this and then close the NBT files. There you go. And then we can also close this folder, and that is all that we need to do here. So we can close it and continue on to the structure tags. Worldgen biome has structures. So that you can see there are 2 JSON files right here. So let's open the JSON files and let's see what they do. They basically specify where a particular structure can spawn. So in what biomes they can spawn. This is why we need this tag. So we're basically here referring, as you can see, to other tags. So is deep ocean, and is mountain tags, as well as the swamp specifically. So this is very easy, and you can also see a comment here. Biome tag can specify the biome directly, or you can specify it with a biome tag by starting it with a hashtag. So we've seen this before in custom tags as well, so it shouldn't be anything crazy right here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, well, create the actual file. So let's go into our IntelliJ here again, into the tags folder. So once again, under data, tutorial mod or your mod ID tags. And here we want to create a new directory called Worldgen. Inside of there, we want to create a new directory called biome. Inside of there, we want to create a new directory called has_structure. Once again, making sure this is written correctly. And then what I will do is I will actually copy the name right here, because this is a long name and I don't want to type this out and make a typo in there. So new file, code_structure_sky_fan_biomes.json. And then we'll also copy over the contents of this. So once again, select it, Control-C, and then Control-V to paste it in. And then the other one, of course, as well. So let's just go here. Copy this one. This is the JSON_only_house_biomes.json. And let's create this as well. New file. Copy over the name right here. There you go. And then we're going to copy over the contents as well. So this is going to be this right here. Let's go back to IntelliJ and then the contents right here. You can see the JSON only house biomes here. A few more biomes in this case, but totally fine. So once again, these JSON files select or they specify in what particular biome a certain structure can spawn. So that's the general idea. And that is actually also the next folder done. You can see the biomes folder right here. The biome right now, Worldgen tags folder, and we can go back to this structure_tutorial and then talk about the Worldgen folder. So I've already opened this right here. You can see more folders, of course, so it's going to be very fun for us. We're going to start with the configure structure feature right here. You can see for each one of our custom structures, we're going to need one of those JSON files. So let's just open them both, and then let's make the first one, once again, copy over the name, and then create the actual directory. Now, okay, very carefully, please pay attention to this. This is incredibly important. So we want to go to our data folder, tutorial mod, and in this folder, we want to create a new directory called Worldgen. Okay, listen. Not the folder inside of your tags folder, but one inside of the tutorial mod folder. You're going to have two different Worldgen folders right here. You can see they are very close to each other, but if you focus on this correctly, you can see one of them is in the tags folder, the other one is in the tutorial mod folder or whatever your mod ID is. Please, please take care of this and make sure that this is done correctly. This is incredibly important. The things that we're going to do right now are all going to go into this folder right here that is in the tutorial mod folder. The tags that we've added for, biome has structure, those go into the Worldgen folder that is in the tags folder. Please take care. Make sure that this is done correctly. Inside of here, we want 4 different directories. We're just going to create them immediately. So this is the configured_structure_feature, making sure that this is also written correctly. Once again, you can always take a look at my GitHub repository or the individual gist or the GitHub repository from TelepathicGrunt to make sure that this is written correctly. Processor_list is the second one. The third directory is the structure_set. And then last but not least, certainly not least, is the template_pool. So once again, I really want to hit this home because this is incredibly important. We're going to have 2 different Worldgen folders. One of them is in the tutorial mod folder inside of your data folder. The other one is going to be in the tags folder in your tutorial mod folder. Make sure that this is correct, right? I really don't want to see someone like, it doesn't work, and then I see that you've made it in the wrong folder. I know I've been harping on about this for a while, but it's a very easy mistake to make. So please keep that in mind and make sure that this is done correctly. So now we can proceed in the configured structure features folder. So in here, we're going to make a new file, the code_structure_sky_fan.json. Let's then copy over the contents of this. So once again, a few more contents, but we're going to see. So let's actually copy this over. Let's, close a few things, and then let's actually create the other one as well, and then let's look at the contents in them. So let's copy the name here, JSON_only_house.json. There you go. And then the contents of which as well will be copied over. There you go. And then we'll actually take a look at this. So this JSON file, the configured structure feature, let's first of all look at the sky fan. So once again, comments, really great. The errors here can be safely ignored. The comments are totally fine. They are not going to be a bother in the JSON files. So you can basically take a look at them as well. And this will also be very, very interesting and important. So the first thing to change is, of course, the structure tutorial namespace here, right? So what we can do is we can just select this, press Ctrl-R, and then change it to our mod ID. So in this case, tutorial mod, replace all, and then we should be fine right here. So this one right here, right, just refers back, if you can see this, right, the biome tag to use for what biomes this structure can spawn in. Wait a second, haven't we seen this? Yes, we have. This is in our tags folder, in the Worldgen folder right here, biome has structures. So you can see has structures, code structures, sky_fan_biomes. So this points to exactly this JSON file right here. So that should be fairly self-explanatory, basically making sure that the actual structure only spawns in these biomes that we define in this particular JSON file. So that's really cool. The start pool is something we're going to see in just a moment. This is going to be defined in the template pool folder right here, but we're going to see that, as I said, in just a moment. And then the type here is just the type, as you can see, basically for some extra behavior. I'm not 100% sure what types here are all accessible or usable in this case, but basically, once again, be open to experimentation. Take a look at some other GitHub repositories of other mods, always recommended as well, and then you should be fine. Here we can also specify some spawn overrides, meaning that these are particular mobs that might spawn inside of the structure or around the structure. As you can see, what mobs can spawn over time in these structures. So that's the general idea here, and that would be really freaking awesome. We also have this adapt noise, right? If true, land will be, added around the bottom of the structure, based on the actual Y position. We actually don't want this for the sky fan because the sky fan should be 60, blocks in the air, and then adding land below it would kind of defeat the purpose in that moment. So there you go. For the JSON-only house, we are pretty similar here. The only thing here is just that we have a type, Minecraft village here in this case. This just checks once again for the terrain stuff. I'm basically keeping this to the village here. I found this works totally fine. We also still want to change the structure tutorial mod ID though, so we're going to replace it here. So you can see this looks for the start pool in the rundown house folder in the start pool JSON, and then this once again refers back to the tags Worldgen JSON-only house biomes one, the JSON file right here, so it should be fairly self-explanatory. We're also spawning some other, monsters or, in this case, creatures even in here, so that should be fine as well. This is the configured structure feature JSON file. So let's proceed to the processor list then. So we can close this and close this as well. Processor list, open this one. You can see we only have one JSON file. This is the randomize_stonebrick.json, which is really freaking awesome and really cool. However, this is in this case actually custom. I still recommend you add this to your mod as well, just for the sake of argument right here, and I will explain what this does. So after copying it over, this is really cool because this basically, as you can see, is a list of processors. Now you can see this will run for every block placed by an NBT file. The resultant block of the processor list is the block that actually gets placed in the world. What does that mean? Well, we can basically define some rules here, meaning that we can, if a stone brick block is placed, right, then we have a 50% chance of replacing it with an infested stone brick. That means that all of your stone brick blocks in the sky fan actually will be replaced with infested stone brick blocks, 50% of them, because this is the probability right here, right? We can also see a stone brick block might also be replaced with emerald ore. That is a 5% chance here. And then you can see here, cobbled deep slate might be replaced with a 10% probability with deep slate redstone ore. This is really freaking awesome, and I highly recommend taking a look at this, maybe even playing around with this a little bit, because this can just add a lot of variety and just, a lot of spice to your custom structures as well. But this is not, needed. This is optional. You don't need a processor list, but we're going to have one for the sky fan because this is just going to be awesome. And it is something that TelepathicGrunt basically, ships with the tutorial repo, so we're going to be fine. Now onto the structure set directory. Let's go and open this one as well. Structure set. So you're going to see, once again, for each of our structures, we have a JSON file. So let's just copy over the code structure skyfan. And we're going to create this one right here, new file. Once again, copying the name. Let's also, close a few files here, and then the contents of which are not actually that crazy. Let's copy over the other one as well. And then we're going to once again see what those JSON files do. Once again, they are not actually that crazy. So we can make a new file right here. JSON only JSON house. JSON? Yeah, exactly. 1, 2 JSON too many, I think. Let's copy the contents over which as well here. There you go. And then let's look at this one first and foremost. So once again here, it points to a particular structure. In this case, it should actually point to the JSON file right here, the configured structure right here. And what we want to do is, once again, of course, change the mod ID. Same right here. Let's change it as well. There you go, so we don't forget it. And then we can see, we can actually define multiple structures. So you can see if 2 or more structures here are in this list, then basically based on the weight that we assign, they can be chosen to spawn. That's really cool. So we can also, basically spawn different structures on the same place. The placement is incredibly important. So you can see there's spacing and separation. So the spacing here is the average distance apart in chunks, and the separation is the minimum distance. Obviously, the minimum distance has to be lower than the spacing, so the average distance. Make sure that this is the case. Also, 16 and 6 are very, very low values. So in this case, the sky fan is going to be quite prevalent. Same with the JSON-only house, which has 12 and 4. This is, of course, for testing purposes in this case, so no worries at all. But I highly recommend, when you actually make a proper structure and, it's no longer work in progress, I highly recommend, really cranking this up to 160 or something like that, because you're going to see in just a moment when we actually enter the world how actually prevalent both of these structures are. And then also what's very important here is this salt. So make sure this is a unique salt and does not match any other structure's salt. Why is that the case? Because, and this is very important, the salt basically determines where your structure is placed. So if this is the same salt as this one, right, what happens is that they're going to be placed at the exact same location, which is, of course, not something that you want. Make sure that this is not too big, because otherwise you're also going to get an error. So it can't be bigger than a 32-bit integer, if I'm not mistaken. So that's also very important to keep in mind. But just keep those big and also just unique, big, and also that they don't match. So that's the general idea. Those are these two JSON files here. This is a kind of placement right here. Right, so you can see this is just a random spread. The other kind is the stronghold ring base, like a stronghold. That's just the general idea of where the spawn is, and then a certain amount, certain blocks away from that spawn, the stronghold's going to spawn in rings. I'm not 100% sure. You can play around this a little bit. I personally would just keep it at random spread. It's going to be fine. And now the template pool. So this is going to be the last JSON files to copy over. So template_pool, you can see we have the run_down_house folder and the skyfan JSON file. Here we have a site and a start pool. Let's actually do the skyfan first. That's just the sky_fan JSON file inside of this folder right here. There you go. And then let's, close the other ones as well. Let's copy over the contents once again. And then let's actually take a look at this one first. So once again, here we want to change the name. This is tutorial mod, and then this is tutorial mod as well. So replace all, there you go. And then let's think about this. So this is the side pool. Now in this case, our side pool is actually, doesn't matter for our sky fan. So this one doesn't even matter in this case. This one also doesn't matter. The fallback is basically just if, as you can see, if the elements fail to generate, we're just going to get an empty one in there and we're going to be fine. Here, this is very interesting. These are the elements here. So how likely is a chosen element to be chosen? Should be fairly self-explanatory, right? So that's just one, and we also only have one element, so it's always going to be chosen. It's always going to be this one. Now this one right here, this location, actually looks in the data folder. You can see tutorial mod structures, and then this is not rundown house. This actually looks for the sky_fan NBT. So this is in this one right here, sky fan NBT. So this is the location that you specify right there. Very important. And then down here, we specify the processors. So in this case, we're specifying the randomized stone brick processor, which is going to be right here. So this JSON file right here is basically referred to right here. We can close this for the sake of argument, and that should be fine. The rest is pretty, fine here. This is really good. You can always take a look at the comments once again, making sure that, you understand a few things there. But then what we want to do is we want to create a new directory, run_down_house. And inside of there, we want the two JSON files. This is going to be the site pool and the start pool. So let's just create this. So this is going to be the site_pool.json. And then the other one is going to be the start_pool.json. There you go. So both of them, and let's copy over the contents of this as well. There you go, site pool and start pool. So let's go with the site pool first, making sure that we actually copy this in the correct one. Side pool, there you go. There it is. And then the other one is the start pool. Yes, it is. And let's copy this one over as well. And let's see what those do. First of all, change the mod ID again. There you go. Structure tutorial as well. Bam, done. And then in the side pool as well, replace. And then here, structure tutorial, replace those as well. The start pool is the one we're going to look at first, because it has the name start in it. No, but it actually is the start pool. The start pool JSON is referred to in the configured structure feature. So we can actually take a look at this. You can see tutorial mod run_down_house, right? This one right here, start pool. You can see the path to the template pool JSON file to use. So we're going to start with this JSON file. And what it's going to generate is the run_down_house_left_side. So it's going to generate this NBT file right here. Okay, fair enough. And then here, the processor is actually empty because we're not using the processor from this list. So we're not using any particular processors. So this one should be fairly self-explanatory. It's pretty much the same as this one. However, there is also a side pool that is being generated. And this is really freaking interesting because, and this is really cool, the side pool right here actually makes it so that we have a second part of the structure. So this also uses Jigsaw blocks, by the way. And this one can be one of two things. It can either be the right side or the right side golden. So we can have two different right sides for this house. Now, on first basically joining a new world, this is not going to work. And I'm going to show you why, and we're going to fix this as well. But because the NBT data actually presumes that our mod ID is the mod ID from, the tutorial right here. So it presumes that our mod ID is structure_tutorial, which of course it isn't. And this is why we have to change some stuff in the game, save it, and then replace some files, but no worries at all. It's actually going to be fairly straightforward. So this is the general idea here. The start pool, it's going to start with the start pool, and then it's going to also have this side pool right here. Now you might ask yourself, wait, this side pool JSON is actually not referred to anywhere exactly, because this is referred to in the NBT files themselves. So the side pool is always referred to in the Jigsaw blocks themselves. So this is all of the things that we need to copy over. We can take a look at the repository one more time, but we can see we have basically we have run through all of the different JSON files here, and we have finally made it. So this is all that we need to do. You can see it is quite a lot, but when you actually think about it, right, the JSON only house only has, right, I mean, in this case, 3 different NBT files. Okay, fair enough, but it has, so you need an NBT file. This is your actual structure built. You need a tag where those particular structures can spawn. You need a configured structure feature JSON, a structure set JSON, and then also 1 or 2 or multiple JSON files, depending on how complex your structure is. So that's actually not that many things, all things considered. Of course, the contents of which, might also increase the complexity a little bit, but overall, as you can see, it's not actually that many things. Whatever the case may be, these are all of the things that we have to add to, well, add our structures to the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the game, go into the, a new world, and let's actually see what doesn't work, because there's going to be one thing that doesn't work, and we're going to fix it, and that will hopefully also clear up some other things. So let's start the game and see if everything works. If you've done everything correctly and you're creating a new world, this will come up. Worlds using experimental settings are not supported. This is absolutely normal. If this comes up, everything is fine. If something else comes up, meaning saying something like data packs, we have to use save mode, then you have a typo somewhere in your JSON files. Make sure to go back, check everything again. The spelling is incredibly important so that everything is correct. You have the gist, you have the 2 GitHub repositories. Highly recommend doing that and then basically checking that everything is done correctly. If this is the case, you can just click proceed and then generate the actual world. It's going to be similar when you actually join a world that has these experimental settings. You always have to agree that you're like, I know what I'm doing. It's a little annoying, but it is what it is. This is just when you add those JSON files, then you are going to be sort of slotted into the experimental settings, but that's going to be fine. So let's see if we can find our structures. All right, so we find ourselves in Minecraft, and I mean, look at this. There already is the one half of this house, and you can see a villager actually spawned here as well. So you can see this one right here, this would be a Jigsaw block, but it only spawned half of a house. There's also some interesting signs in here that can be useful. So you can see you can add some mobs as well and save them in your structures. And you can also spawn chests in your structures. So before you save your structure, you can spawn a chest with a particular loot table. So just like this, basically spawning it, and then be sure to not open the chest as well, by the way, because otherwise you're going to basically set the actual contents of the chest. So don't spawn it, then save the structure, and then it can basically generate random loot as well. But as you can see, it's only half a house, which is kind of frustrating, but okay, fair enough. Let's fly over the ocean, and we should be able to find some sky fans as well. In theory, if they are not there, we can also always do, there's one actually, but we can also always use the locate command and then look for a tutorial mod code skyfan. There you go. And then we're going to teleport to this one, of course. There you go. And what's really cool is we had this, custom one, the actual processor list. So you can see some of them are emeralds, and then we can also see this is an infested stone brick, and then this is a normal stone brick. So half of them are infested, half of them are not. So this was the processor list that we've added. Really freaking awesome, really freaking cool in this case. But the real question that you're probably asking is, okay, how do we fix this half a house issue? Because that's kind of annoying. And I'm like, I absolutely agree with you. So what we need to do for this is we need to get ourselves the structure block. So let's do the following. We need to use the give command. So give def the structure block, this one right here, and it looks like this. You set it down, and then we're going to go right click on it, and we're going to spawn a structure. We're going to spawn the tutorial mod : and this is going to be the name of the NBT file that we want to spawn. Run _ down _ house _ left _ side, and no JSON needed. Let's actually select it all. So Control A to select it all, Control C to copy it, because we're going to use this in a moment as well. And then click load. If it has found something, we're going to see where it's going to spawn, and then we hit the load button again, and you can see the structure spawns. However, you can also see we spawned with a jigsaw block right here. Before we take a look at this, we actually want to spawn the other side of the structure as well. We're just going to spawn it a little ways away so that they don't touch. So just paste it in, and this is going to be the right side here. We'll load this as well. No, it's going to be roughly right there. That's good. And then let's load this in as well. So this is the other side of the structure, and you can see there's another jigsaw block. So usually what should happen is that they should touch, and this line here, as you can see, should be the same. Like I said, we're going to see that in the second tutorial after this. So next one, we're going to do a single structure, and then afterwards, we're going to see the jigsaw blocks as well. Really interesting. Now, there has to be something that matches here. So if I right-click this, I'm going to see this has a particular name. So this is the side piece sort of thing, right? This is the secondary piece of the structure, and this has a name. You can see structure _ tutorial right side. Okay, we want to change this to tutorial mod. Tutorial mod right side. So making sure that this is done correctly. Done. And then here, this is our main one. This is the one from the start pool. You can see, first of all, we have the structure, the target pool, which is the side pool. This is what I've said, right? The side pool JSON is actually referred to in this jigsaw block. And of course, it's looking in the structure _ tutorial, which doesn't exist. What does exist, however, is the following: the tutorial mod rundown house side pool JSON. That one does exist. And the target name here has to be the same name as defined in the other jigsaw block here. So what we're going to do is tutorial mod right side. Okay. So once again, this name right here, the target name, is the same as this name right here. Those have to match, as well as the side pool right here is the side pool. I'm actually going to open IntelliJ for a second. Is this side pool right here, right? It's going to look in the template pool, run _ down _ house, side pool JSON. You can see run _ down _ house, side pool. So it's going to look for that file. Now what we want to do is we want to save those two structures again. For that, we're going to go into our structure block and change the mode right here. So the left load button, right? We're going to click on it twice to save mode, and then we're going to save. We're going to do the same thing for the right side, switch to save mode and save. What we're also going to do is we're going to get the other right side. So this is going to be the right side golden. So right _side _ golden. Loading this one in, load. And then here, we also want to change the name right here to tutorial mod, done, and save this as well. So go in here, go to save mode, save, and then our different structures here are done and saved again. And then we can replace the NBT files that we've downloaded from the repository and replace them with our own custom ones. And then our the house here is going to spawn correctly. So let's go back to IntelliJ and actually switch out the files. So the first question that comes to your mind probably is, where are those NBT files saved? Well, they are saved in the run folder saves, and then whatever save you're in. I was in the subscribe to Kaupenjoe world, and then you have a generated folder right here, and right here you can see the structures are saved right here in NBT file format. Let's just take them and copy them over to right here. There you go, and then overwrite all of them. So now these NBT files have been overwritten, and now it should work totally fine. So once again, we're going to go back into Minecraft, make a new world. We're once again going to get the, experimental world setting stuff, and then we should find complete rundown houses. So let's see if it works. All right, found ourselves in Minecraft in a new world, and let's see if we can find ourselves a rundown house that is complete. So this should be, somewhere at least. We can't find it, immediately. We can, of course, always use the locate command and then check for this should be tutorial mod JSON only house. And there we are, 16 - 80. And it actually spawned roughly underground. That's kind of hilarious, actually. But, it does spawn, in full. So you can see both sides are intact. And this is the normal side, actually, but not the golden side. Let's actually find another one just for the sake of argument, because this is a very weird spawn for this. This is definitely not how you would expect it to. Let's just fly in this direction. And what you will find is you can see how common it actually is, right? That's not very far away at all. And there's another one, so you can actually see, sometimes you can see 3 of them at the same time. So as I've said, playing around with the numbers is like always just very much a thing that you should do. Let's see, is this a golden one? No, it's also a normal one, fair enough. But you can see, you know, the entire structure now spawns after we've done those modifications of the Jigsaw block. So, I mean, this is pretty much how you can add structures to Minecraft, and yeah, that's pretty much it. As I've said, we're going to continue in the next 2 tutorials. Number 1, making a custom structure, a single piece, and then also making a Jigsaw structure where you have, you know, also 2 different or multiple different sides that can spawn for that particular structure. Highly recommend checking those out as well. But that would be it for this tutorial right here. I hope you found this useful and you learned something new. It was a very interesting tutorial, definitely, and probably also very needed because structures can be quite complicated. Hopefully I was able to break it down well enough for you to, well, understand it well enough so that you can make your own custom structures. Very much interested in what you can come up with. Yeah, that would be it for this one right here. Hope you found this useful and you learned something new. If you did, I would very much appreciate a like on this one. And also don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials just like this. Many thanks also to my lovely Patreon supporters for supporting the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. So yeah.